She looked like she was having a blast. Man, it was just so fun to see her out there.
The Swift-Kelce universe is doing the absolute most right now. First up, all eyes are on Super Bowl week in the Bay Area as fans spiral over whether Taylor Swift will actually show up to Travis Kelce's hyped San Francisco party. And then, the retirement rumors kick into overdrive after Tom Brady jumps in with thoughts on whether Kelce should hang up his cleats or run it back.
But he's a stud, man. What a great player he's been. And I mean, he could still play. He looked great this year. I thought this was one of the best years he's had in a long time. But
next, things slow down off the field as we find out why Travis and Taylor are very much not in wedding planning overdrive. After that, Travis adds author to his resume with a new book alongside Jason Kelce.
We're also announcing our first book. That's right. Can you believe that we're publishing a book? We're authors. Who would have thought?
And finally, Taylor proves she's a real one by making sure her Fortnight co-stars Josh Charles and Ethan Hawke get their own VMA trophies. Super Bowl week in the Bay Area was already shaping up to be loud, chaotic, and slightly unhinged in the best way possible. And now, Travis Kelce and George Kittle decided to crank the volume all the way up. The two tight end bros were teaming up with Sports Illustrated to throw a Super Bowl week bash in San Francisco on February 5th. And instantly the internet locked onto the only question that really mattered: is Taylor Swift pulling up? Insiders said that was the million-dollar mystery, and frustratingly, nobody had a straight answer. Even Kelce's own attendance wasn't officially locked in, which felt wild considering his Chiefs season wrapped up early and his calendar suddenly had a whole lot of blank space. As for Kittle, he was sidelined with an injury, but it's believed he'd still be around the team environment if the 49ers kept marching toward that Lombardi dream, which fans were already manifesting like it was a full-time job.
Bye-bye. Love you.
What was clear was the vibe. The party, called Tight Ends and Friends, was going down at Public Works at 9 p.m., and it wasn't your average awkward industry mixer with stale drinks and forced smiles. It's more of a college-style rager, but with glow-ups everywhere. Think turf-inspired setups, interactive games, big production energy, and music that actually slaps, instead of politely existing in the background. The soundtrack leaned heavily on local DJs mixed with national names, building up to loud luxury headlining with Frank Walker warming up the crowd. Basically the kind of night where you lose your voice, your sense of time, and possibly your phone charger. And then there was Taylor, floating over the whole thing like a glittery question mark. Fans were already plotting outfits, camera angles, and conspiracy theories just in case she decided to make a surprise appearance. No confirmations, no denials, just vibes and speculation doing cardio online. Tickets were already up, the buzz was buzzing, and insiders joked that if Swift did walk in, the roof would metaphorically and emotionally come off. Either way, Super Bowl week was officially in party mode, and this was shaping up to be one of those nights people swear they were at, whether they actually were or not. So while everyone was busy refreshing their feeds to see who might pop up at that San Francisco bash, the conversation quietly swerved into a much bigger, sweatier question. Is Travis Kelce actually done with football? The retirement chatter hit a whole new level after the Chiefs' 2025 season face-planted in spectacular fashion, missing the playoffs for the first time in over a decade, and leaving Kelce standing at a serious career crossroads with his contract officially expired. The timing alone made people spiral, because when a 13-season legend suddenly becomes technically unemployed, the rumors start doing Olympic-level gymnastics.
Every season ends for me. I put my feet up and I just be a human.
Yeah.
Just being a regular human for a couple weeks, maybe a month or so, and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Enter Tom Brady, a.k.a. the final boss of retirement indecision. Brady, who famously retired, unretired, then retired again like it was a seasonal hobby, felt compelled to weigh in. He made it clear that Kelce didn't need guidance from anyone, especially not from someone who kept changing his mind, but still made it obvious he didn't see a guy who was cooked. Brady believed Kelce still looked dangerous on the field, still brought elite energy, and still had that same competitive edge that doesn't just vanish overnight. Translation: the tank isn't empty yet.
But he's a stud, man. What a great player he's been. And I mean, he could still play. He looked great this year. I thought this was one of the best years he's had in a long time. But I love watching him play. I love his personality. I love his temperament. I love his competitiveness. He's one of the all-time greats that ever played this game.
And honestly, the numbers back that up. Kelce quietly stacked 851 yards and 5 touchdowns last season, casually crossing 13,000 career receiving yards like it was just another Tuesday. That put him in extremely rare company, which made the retirement talk feel a little premature to some around the league. Still, Kelce himself wasn't rushing anything. He leaned into humor about his contract situation, joking around about being jobless, but insiders noticed a more reflective tone underneath. The decision wasn't about hype or headlines. It was about whether his body could survive another brutal NFL grind.
If my body can heal up and rest up, and I can feel confident that I can go out there and give it another 18, 20, 21 week run. Talked to a few people in the facility already, having the exit meetings and everything, and they know where I stand, at least right now. And there's a lot of love for the game that's still there, and I don't think I'll ever lose that. It's a tough thing to navigate.
And while his future on the field stayed up in the air, the spotlight slid straight over to his future off it, because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were very much not in full-blown wedding mode, despite being engaged and technically on the clock. It had been a little over 4 months since they announced the engagement, with a June 13th wedding penciled in at a Lux, Rhode Island spot, yet the planning pace was more "we'll get to it" than Pinterest meltdown at 3 a.m. Apparently, spreadsheets were not being crunched, color palettes were not being debated, and the guest list was still giving unfinished group project energy. A huge part of the slow roll came down to timing and headspace. Taylor was coming off an absolutely packed year, juggling new music, major creative output, and life in the fast lane, while Travis was navigating a massive career decision that could reshape his entire routine.
Honestly, I've been just focused on trying to win football games, man. I'll let that be a decision that I make with my family, friends, the Chiefs organization, when the time comes.
Neither of them felt like piling wedding stress on top of already full plates. Instead of obsessing over seating charts and floral arrangements, they were choosing vibes, peace and quality time, which honestly sounded like the most uncelebrity thing ever. And while they were keeping things chill and low pressure off the field, the multitasking didn't stop, because Travis Kelce quietly added author to his already ridiculous resume. Travis and his brother Jason were officially turning their wildly popular podcast energy into a book, because apparently talking into microphones wasn't enough anymore. The Kelce brothers were taking one of the most chaotic and beloved segments of From New Heights and immortalizing it on actual paper, which felt both ambitious and slightly dangerous in the best way. The book, titled No Dumb Questions and All of Our Dumbest Answers, leaned fully into their brand of unfiltered honesty, locker room logic, and accidental wisdom.
No Dumb Questions is now available for pre-order on the Kelce Clubhouse. We're compiling all the No Dumb Questions that you guys have helped us build throughout these wonderful 3 years of doing this show thus far, so that you guys can enjoy these with friends.
The idea came straight from fans constantly hitting them with the most random, unhinged, and occasionally brilliant questions imaginable. Instead of dodging them, the brothers doubled down, answering everything from life choices to food debates with zero filter and maximum personality. The book captures that same vibe, basically reading like you accidentally sat at the Kelce family table and never got kicked out. It wasn't polished motivational fluff or a serious sports memoir. It was more like controlled chaos with anecdotes, laughs, and a surprising amount of self-awareness. The launch date was set for June 2nd, 2026, and the brothers were still wrapping their heads around the idea of being published authors, which tracked because nothing about their journey screamed quiet writing retreat.
We're also announcing our first book. That's right. Can you believe that we're publishing a book? We're authors. Who would have thought? We're authors. I don't even know if that's the correct way to say this.
We're publishers.
Jason and Travis were genuinely shocked that podcast bit turned into something people could plop onto a coffee table and pretend was intellectual. They reportedly had a blast putting it together and loved the idea that fans could take home a piece of the show without needing headphones.
We've thought about trying to bring this show to life. Like, we do this show every week. We love that everybody tunes into this, how the fan base that we built with you guys, the 92%ers.
The book covered everything fans already loved about them: football stories, career detours, personal habits, and those oddly intense food opinions that somehow sparked debates online. It was basically the podcast in book form, minus the yelling over each other, and timing-wise, the move made sense. With Travis standing at a career crossroads and Jason already embracing life beyond the field, this felt like a calculated but fun pivot, not a panic move. The book wasn't meant to signal anything dramatic, just another lane opening up while the brothers kept doing what they do best, oversharing, laughing at themselves, and somehow turning dumb questions into a full-blown publishing deal. And just when it seemed like the Kelce Swift universe couldn't unlock any more side quests, Taylor casually reminded everyone that being thoughtful is basically her hidden superpower. This time, the story zoomed in on what happened after her Fortnight music video quietly dominated the VMAs and walked away with Video of the Year. Taylor didn't just celebrate the win and move on. She made sure the people who helped bring that slightly chaotic, artsy masterpiece to life got their own flowers, literally in trophy form. Josh Charles and Ethan Hawke, who surprised everyone with their appearances in the Fortnight video back in 2024, ended up receiving their own Moon Person trophies thanks to Taylor's behind-the-scenes thoughtfulness. According to sources, Josh had zero clue what was happening until he got a mysterious email asking for his address, which immediately triggered confusion, curiosity, and mild paranoia. Like, why does Taylor Swift need my mailing info? When the trophy finally showed up, his reaction was pure disbelief mixed with child on Christmas morning energy. Josh assumed the gesture came straight from Taylor, who wanted to acknowledge that their involvement helped elevate the video and make it feel extra special. It wasn't required, it wasn't expected, and that's exactly why it landed so hard. The move summed up her reputation perfectly. Wildly successful, insanely busy, and still clocking who deserves credit. The Fortnite shoot itself had already been a full-circle moment. Josh and Ethan had reunited years after Dead Poets Society, suddenly finding themselves back together, only this time swapping desks and chalkboards for tortured poet aesthetics and pop star chaos. Insiders said keeping the cameo secret was borderline torture for Josh, who hated withholding that kind of news, especially from his own kids. The day of filming felt like time travel, with laughter everywhere and that familiar old friends chemistry instantly clicking back into place. The vibe on set was shockingly relaxed for something tied to a massive pop release. Taylor's crew reportedly treated everyone with respect and warmth, making the experience feel more like a creative hangout than a high-pressure production. The biggest takeaway for Josh wasn't even the trophy, but the laughter and nostalgia, feeling like teenagers again for a day while accidentally becoming pop culture footnotes. That's all for this video, folks. We'll see you next time.